I'm going to be quiet. Martin.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us to come as well. I read a poem. It's called The Human Cannonball. It was my job to test the air. Stick a wet finger among the zephyrs, spray spittle in the breeze, check where it fell. Years back we had a windsock when money was good and folk had wine and whiskey to spare. It was my job to test the cannon, check for hairline fractures, oil the moving parts, reseal the rubber air hose. On Monday mornings I would take it all to pieces, dismantle, clean, oil, lubricate, reassemble in tip-top working order. My hands know every blemish, each repair. They feel the function of the beast. My wife is the human cannonball. She is my fifth wife, and I love her more when she flies, solid and fixed above the ground. Love her less on terra firma, holding my hand, tickling my toes. Like all human cannonballs, she's a devil for the tickling. In turn, she's ticklish as a goat herself. She loves me enough to check the angle of delivery, to check the explosive charge. We all know she loves me too much. My hands know every blemish, each repair. They feel the function of the beast. I've been blessed with 5 wives. My first was a human cannonball. My second was a human cannonball. My third wife also was a human cannonball. My fourth wife was a trainee lion tamer, and that's a sad story. None of us ever mention the children. My wife now is my beloved human cannonball. I read the poem that's in the magazine. The genesis of that goes way back. When I came down from Newcastle to London, and I got a job in civil service, and working at big offices with like loads and loads of people there. And in the second or third week that I started work, there was a leaving do, and this woman, the woman she was retiring, she used the leaving do as the moment to basically settle all her scores for her entire career. And I thought I would never see them like that again. And then a few weeks, a couple of years ago, the same thing happened. I was working in a university. I was teaching there, and I wasn't having a great time there myself. But another lecturer left, and just on the day of leaving, just tore into the people we worked with, which was extraordinary. There's a little quote from Paul Ricoeur. I like Paul Ricoeur because I'm a sociologist by training, and Paul Ricoeur is a sociologist, but he gives up. He allows for agency far more than what sociologists do. So he does. People have the power to do their own things. And he says to talk about narrative and times, looking back from the conclusion to the episodes leading up to it, we have to be able to say that this ending required this sort of events and this chain of action. So it's called Finishing Work. Pent, stillness borrowed from movie scripts, where dignity remains on the cards. Darn foolscap pages, wringing the trauma dry, just voiding hope before a rush, a sugar-fueled exit strategy. The really real never resembles films. That ending, that child plucked out, a gifted moment smiles on the house. Helena burned urgent violence crisscrossing the staff canteen, displaced co-workers, scattering skedaddle like ants caught unawares from the spits of an out-of-control bonfire. No hip, 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 hooray route to happy last minutes of grace. No fool goodery. Helena's moment, a blast fury hit. Endings make their linear sense out of nonsense. Cuts, explosions, the fist as credits roll, as pent up. Let's go. It's okay, I will come Cheers, thank you. This panel, when it came out, was a bit unexpected. I wasn't expecting to publish anything. I haven't published anything for a long, long time. Most of the panel, I moved out of London down to Sussex, and living in the countryside in the middle of nowhere, and I've always hated the countryside, so that's sort of it comes out further. There's a lot of sort of stuff going back to where we used to live, and then to the house where we are now, which we sort of it was a bit run down, so I ended up sort of knocking down a lot of it and then rebuilding it, which was it sort of played on my mind. I think it was a stressful sort of thing. It's called the New Cosmopolitan. Bizarrely, there's lots of, it's almost like DIY poetry, like building poetry, and it's because that's what was playing on my mind at the time. So it feeds into this, it feeds into some other poems more. I read this one because I like this poem. It's called the New Cosmopolitan. In the chambers below our house, I hear the mad footfall of albino pit ponies whose descendants were abandoned as the new men of the 19th century gained a toehold on wealth and culture. Those great big tea families and their museums of lust. Would you ever get over those horny Victorian men, rooms full of stuffed animals and distinctive headwear? Today I shot wood pigeon across the old paddock. Development notices and the perimeter. Development notices stud the perimeter. Planning game deals are on the cards. We expect kiddies rides and all new mini roundabout in return for small scale development. Bungalows, asked my neighbours. The parish put its foot down at social housing, and that, they assure me, has to be a blessing. I took out 2 pigeons, but only retrieved the first. Stupid greyhound, rescued from the clutches of pet rescue liberals, doesn't yet understand about whose meat is whose. Anyway, it's only for this foodie business. Pigeon breasts, the new byword in delicacy. Heart and livers for the sauce. My new woman has city tastes. She thinks all these fancy chefs are the best thing since sliced bread. Every night I am wakened by the clatter of hooves. She hears nothing. Sometimes, when the orders from Amazon arrive, it crosses my mind I'm living in the fast lane. I'm plugged in to the in crowd. But those pit ponies make me twist like a young horse under orders. Head and neck snap back to an epileptic number, saliva seeping from his mouth. If this was the start of a race, it would be a cavalry charge. And I read the flip side. This goes back to sort of this more southeast London. It's called Kebab Town. There's sort of road that comes out to Catford. And it's just a big lane. It doesn't go anywhere particularly. That's where the poem is. Kebab Town. I was born here. I will die here. Kebab Town will remain here. I am Kebab Town, and Kebab Town is me. Nobody ever leaves Kebab Town. No bright young things full of promise break their mammy's heart, packing their bags, taking the first train out of here, the first train anywhere. and tattooed across the heart with Kebab Town. My horse only knows the Kebab Town road. Nobody's ever returned to Kebab Town. Nobody's ever passed through, been taken aback by the picturesque streets and thought, one day I shall be a Caledonian. There's never been anything to impress. There are no monuments, no museums, no benches endowed by local worthies. Signposting for visitors is limited to the point of non-existence. There are no visitors. The Queen, the Prime Minister, the Minister of State for Public Highways, every royal poodle, soap star, has-been model have made their excuses. There's never been an official visit. There is no red carpet, no banqueting suite. The mayor does not possess a ceremonial badge. School children have never waved flags or had an unexpected day off. Kebab Town is not like that. My horse is tattooed with Kebab Town across his heart. He knows the Kebab Town road like I know the Kebab Town road. There is much I have in common with my horse. He was born in Kebab Town and he will die in Kebab Town. My horse is Kebab Town and Kebab Town is my horse. Thank you very much.